Hello everyone, welcome to the Switch List. My name is Rick. So this video is going to be the layout update for April-May. I can't believe it's been since end of February that I posted my last layout update. I guess with all this coronavirus, COVID-19 nonsense going on in the world, I just haven't been making videos. So as everyone can see here, I am sporting my social distancing beard. Me and my razor are social distancing from each other. At the moment, as my youngest son's girlfriend calls it, this is my quarantine beard. Anyway, so I've got a bunch of different updates to show you around the layout, things that I've been working on. I'm going to do it in no particular order. So let me get behind the camera and we'll start taking a look at what's going on. So the first thing you notice is I acquired this backdrop from Art Printers. Actually, I got it. It's an Art Printers product. I got it on eBay. It comes in two 5-foot long sections, so it's 10 foot overall. The blue hardboard background is 8 foot long here, and this isn't permanently mounted. I like the backdrop. The problem is that I'm looking for something that makes the trees look farther away. These are a little bit too close, so this is just tacked up there temporarily just to give me some ideas. It was very cheap, $25 I think. So they offer a bunch of different ones, so I'm probably going to buy another one that has the tree line farther back and give that a try. Very inexpensive compared to most backdrops out there, and I'm not looking for a work of art, I'm looking for something that works. So that's the first thing I've done. Let me move on to the next one. Okay, so another thing I did here was I've mounted a couple of car card boxes around the layout. This is the one for Forest Hill, and then when we go around to Bel Air, we'll see I have one mounted there. Those are the only two that I had. I need to get a couple more, and we'll go and get those mounted as well. So, and of course I obviously need to finish the fascia at some point. The shopping list for Lowe's continues to grow. Now here's the car card box for Bel Air. We pan up a little bit. I don't know if you can see that really well with the camera. Sorry for it being shaky. Started working on the dirt road that leads from the main road right here, leads over to American Oil Company. So we started working on that gravel road. That's using Woodland Scenic's fine buff gravel. In downtown Bel Air, I had stuck this structure in, this DPM structure, and it just had a white roof on it, plain. And I was trying to come up with an idea, what am I going to do for something different? I didn't want to do another tar paper roof or shingled roof. I got this idea to do a raised seam roof. And then completely unrelated, when the material came in and I put it on there and I was trying to decide what color to paint it, I thought of my girlfriend, who just last year put a brand new raised seam metal roof on her house, and it is bright red. So the bright red on the top of this roof is an homage to my girlfriend. I sent her a picture of it. She loves it, of course. So obviously there's still a lot of work to do here on this building. Got to weather it, put the window glazing in. I need to paint. I don't think I'm going to leave the front doors or the windows. They'll probably all get red now to match the roof, but I haven't figured that out yet. So that's one structure I've been working on. Okay, for those of you who've watched some of my earlier videos, you may remember seeing a white foam board mock-up of the Team Track platform here for Bel Air. So I finally got around to scratch building the actual team platform there. I got this truck off of eBay, and it actually had a closed boxcar with a big, refrigerator unit on it. So I took that off, and now I need to actually put on a bed, just a flat bed on it, maybe some side stakes. So that still needs to get done. I'm very happy with the way the platform came out. It's built board by board, and it's looking like it's seen some heavy use. Another thing that I've worked on, I'm still working on what I want to do here with these tanks, but I added some actual rust spots to the paint chip spots, and still working it out. So slow progress there. I actually put the diesel letters on here, and then weathered it with some spilled diesel fuel. And the pump has fallen over, but that pump is completed. I still need to weather the truck here. The next step, besides figuring out what I'm going to do with the painting of these and finishing them, is I want to mount these all on a concrete, styrene concrete slab. Put some piping in that feeds, into the barrels at the top, and then there'll be some hoses at the base that would connect to the tank cars to empty the contents of the tank car. And then also I'm going to build a filling pipe here for the trucks, the large truck here, to be filled up. So, okay, so I've done some more work here in Baltimore Yard just in terms of getting the track actually pinned down. Again, this is all just temporary, nothing glued, because all of these switches here that you see are Atlas number 4 custom line switches, and I'm going to replace those all with hand-laid number 5 switches using a fast tracks jig. So I have all of the stuff that I need to build the turnouts. I just need to sit down and do it. So hopefully we'll get there. But this at least is functional. All of the ground throws are working. Well, not those last two in the far back there. Those aren't connected yet. But all these other ground throws are working, so I can bring trains in and out. And then ultimately, the other thing that needs to get done here to make this yard actually function as designed is right here where you can see all of this stuff. That all needs to go, and a turntable needs to go in there. So the idea is that these two tracks here, arrival departure tracks, when the train pulls in for arriving, if the loco uncouples, it can move on to the turntable and then use that as the way to run around to get out, come back down and get back to the engine shed or wherever it needs to go. As well as that's how you turn the steam locomotives around. So made some progress here, more to go. Okay, so another project that I undertook while I was, we're all in the midst of this COVID-19 nonsense, is a Bachmann Spectrum 440 that had DCC but no sound. So what I did is I bought a TCS WOW sound kit for it. They have one that's designed specifically for this locomotive, and I replaced the non-sound version with the sound version. So I'm really pleased with how that came out. Another thing I really like about the TCS decoders is that I have it set up so that it automatically blows the horn twice when you're going to start forward, once when you stop, and then if I put this in reverse, it blows it 3 times automatically for you, so that way you don't have to remember to do it, and I really like having that feature enabled. Then what I did, using the non-sound decoder that I took out of that, pardon the spin here, I equipped this Roundhouse 280 that was DC ready, I guess, DCC ready, although it doesn't seem like the DCC ready was factory installed. Maybe it was, and it just wasn't done very well. But anyway, I didn't realize it was DCC ready. I thought I was going to have to completely wire it. I opened it up and found that there was actually an 8-pin plug in there, socket, so I was able to wire up the non-sound decoder from that one and use it for this one. So no sound, but at least it's DCC. So the mom and pop fleet is growing steadily, so I'm very pleased about that. Another acquisition, let me move this guy out of the way. And you can see right here, I picked up this freight car off of eBay, the mom and pop number 725, so that was a nice get. I got a really good price on it, so I'm very pleased about that. I wish I could get about a dozen more of these style cars. Okay, here in Bel Air, I've also, I don't think on the last update, again, the backdrop scenes here are just things I've printed out and stuck back there, playing around, trying to get some ideas, how things will look and concepts. I think this guy here, that building right there, that I printed that out, and it's glued it to cardstock. I think that one's going to stay. I really like the way that came out. So anyway, so I've added some fencing, some trees, made some progress there. You can also, I think, maybe you can tell, I weathered all the rail, completed the ballasting, although here in Bel Air, although there is a few spots that need some touch-up. So, but anyway, we've got the ballasting done, the rail weathered here in Bel Air. So, then the other thing I'm doing here is, let me go back to the plan, sorry. So we can see here, you've got this road that's going to come down kind of parallel to the tracks and then come through, and this is going to be the bad side of town, the older section of town, if you will, and then the road's going to curve around into the backdrop and disappear. So right here in this section, and this is an older plan, but in this section right here, what I've decided to do, let me move back. Right here in this section, you can see this cork right here represents the road, and it's going to curve around into the background. So then there are going to be some buildings. But anyway, right here, what I've decided to do is I picked up a Woodland Scenics Memorial Park kit, mini scenes kit, or scene kit, or whatever they're called. And it's designed to be a 8 by 14 rectangular park, and it gives you all the parts that you need: fences, trees, picnic tables, whatnot. So anyway, I'm changing it. I'm making it no longer rectangular. It's going to fit right in here. So this edge here will be kind of along the tracks. I may actually do something to have like some little kids doing some rail fanning as the trains go by. So anyway, I'm going to build this scene modified from the way it's designed to be made, and put it in place and have that kind of a park scene at the end of the main street here on this side of town. I'm waiting for some retaining walls to come in that I ordered from Walters. I'm going to put a retaining wall in here, and then re-scenic that area. So they'll have the retaining wall, a stone retaining wall there. We'll have the Memorial Park, and then you'll have the road that's coming through, and then some other businesses here in this section of town. I ordered an old tenement flat from tenement apartments flat from Trackside Scenery. So that's going to go in here somewhere. That's going to be the low income, low rent housing here down near the tracks, and then you come in through again the poorer side of town. The rich part of town is down there in Bel Air. That's the rich part of town, and this is going to be the poorer section of town. So still trying to figure out what all structures I want to put in there, but it's coming along, at least in my mind. Okay, so those of you who've watched some of my previous videos will probably recognize this is the plan for the current portion of the railroad that is the peninsula. This is the overall plan, and this has actually changed. So you've got Baltimore Yard right there, which is this here, and then it as a temporary comes around, and then it comes into the peninsula here, and then it's going to come off down here, get my finger, and go to York. But I've actually decided to put a town here and bring the York Yard over here, and I just need to get over to Lowe's, back to the shopping list, and get some more 3/4 inch plywood to build the bench work with and get started on that. So anyway, back to this. So the purpose here is, you'll see that here's Bel Air, and as you come north from Bel Air, you go around this great big loop, which here's a mountain here, and then the blue line is my backdrop that we saw earlier in the video from the Forest Hill side. But anyway, the purpose of all this, the last layout update I did, you saw that I think this was just a big empty space here, maybe some plywood down, maybe one layer of foam, but it was flat. So, and I'll pop up an image from the last layout update I did right here so we can see where it was, and now let me show you where it is. Okay, so here, now we're a long way from done yet, but I did, after many iterations of laying out the foam and thinking it looked too much like a ice cream cone upside down, and doing a lot of things to shape and form it, I finally came up with something that was workable. So, and I got some Woodland Scenics rock molds. I cast some rocks, put them on there. So this is 2-inch pink foam, in layers with some Sculptamold, then plaster cloth, Sculptamold, rock castings, ground foam, static grass, and then a bunch of super trees. This right here is, I'm still a work in progress. I got some plans for putting a little mini scene in there. I really want to have it like at least 2, maybe 3 mini scenes here on the mountain. Come around, I can see all the super trees that have been added. This side is pretty much done unless I want to do something right here. I'm not sure in terms of adding trees. Then from here, the top is done. The top of the mountain, you can see back there I've got a rock, and that's just Sculptamold on top of styrofoam. And what I still need to do is figure out what I'm doing down here as it comes down to the base of the tracks. Then we can come around. We see here's the tinfoil rock molds that I did. I put a couple over on this side as well. And then I've got to get trees in here. And then we continue to come around. And then here's another one of the mini scenes. This is the cave that I want to, got some ideas with what I want to do on that. The rocks here are just laying there. I don't know if I like that or not, or what I'm going to do. Using some trees up here. These trees are very flat. I don't know if you're familiar with super trees. These trees, armatures weren't very round. They're very flat on the back side. So I thought, okay, well that'll be nice to put in here and try to, blend in or hide the scenery. The shadows that we're getting here, the harsh shadows, are coming from a light that I have temporarily set up to illuminate it. I want to get some track lighting and install it up above to shine down onto the scene. So anyway, I think this is coming along nicely. I'm very happy with it. It's been a lot of work, not so much physical work as mental work. I was really struggling with trying to get this thing to come out looking okay, and it's certainly not a masterpiece and not up to the quality of what some of you guys out there are doing. But I'm happy with it. It's been a very long time since I did any of this kind of work, so it's coming out very nicely. And I gotta say, I really love these super trees. They're kind of messy to make. But I really love the way they look. So unfortunately, I need to go buy. I think I'm going to break down and buy a whole, whatever it is, super box or whatever, so that because I'm going to need many more trees. And I'm sorry if you're probably hearing the noise from. This is a new dehumidifier that I just bought. I have another dehumidifier that over around on the other side of the stairs, and that thing is probably 15, 16 years old, and it still works, but it's starting to definitely not work as well as it used to, so I decided to pick up another one to help make sure we control the moisture down here. So that's another addition to the layout room. And here, this isn't the layout, but this is in the organizational category, I guess. I picked up a couple carts. I bought the cart on the left first. Got it from Amazon, like $27, I think. I'm pleased with it. It was perfectly fine. In fact, I liked it enough that I was going to buy another one. And when I went to order another one, just a couple days, well, like the day that I got this one, which was a few days after I ordered it, it was no longer available. So then I had to go with this one, which is like $35, I think, and I actually really like that one. So this one is perfectly fine. I wouldn't mind having a couple more of these. This one is, I think, better. So both of them have locking casters on them, and so this one is basically scenery materials, mostly ground foam and ground cover, static grass, and then this one will be the tools. Got a whole bunch of plaster cloth down there. So that will hopefully improve my organization on working on scenery. Okay, jumping around a little bit. I don't know if you noticed here when I showed you the gravel road previously, but you can see I've got some little tufts of static grass. I've got a tuft here, and then if we come down here, actually, where is it? I'm going to move this out of the way. Right here you can see this is actually a long, thin tuft of static grass that I put in here between the tracks. These are all tufts that I made myself with my do-it-yourself static grass applicator. And I don't know if I've mentioned before, over here I've got my one lone street light installed. I don't know if you can see that very well on the camera, but that's my one street light, and then there's the light that I added to McComas Brothers. So anyway, I made these tufts using my do-it-yourself static grass applicator, and I don't know if you can see right here, you can see a distinct difference between this is a different colored grass, but this grass is standing up very nicely, exactly the way you expect static grass to work. And if you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, this is just laying down. It's like there was no static effect at all, and I was really struggling, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Every time, that same effect over here a lot that I need to redo is static grass on the layout wasn't working correctly. Very minimally, if at all. And I took it over and I worked some more on my diorama, and it worked fantastic. The grass stood up, everything was beautiful, all different sizes. I didn't know if it was some longer static grass versus shorter static grass wasn't working in my applicator. This is the do-it-yourself static grass applicator that I made, and as I said, it seemed to work fine when I initially built it and tested it. It didn't work worth a darn when I would come over here to the layout, take it back over to a diorama or test piece, and it worked great, and I was really scratching my head what the hell was going on. And then I had always noticed that there was, you know, something weird in that if you touch the ground probe, you'd get a bit of a shock, and the grass, when you would put the probe near the grass on the layout, the grass would kind of like be attracted to it, and it never really dawned on me, and it should have. And then finally at one point, as I was really messing around with it the other day, as I brought the probe close to ground, to the surface of the layout, I saw an arc, just like you would see if you brought the probe next to the mesh. And that was a eureka moment. And then I went back to the instructions, or the documentation for the high voltage generator module that's in there, and looked at the instructions and looked at the leads and realized that I had connected the high voltage lead to the ground connection, and the ground wire was connected to here, which was going to the screen potential. So the screen on the container hopper was ground, and the ground probe was high voltage, and that works pretty well on an isolated piece of material. But apparently, you know, once you're here on the layout, the layout itself is grounded, the surface of the layout, whether that's through the electrical system, through being in contact with that pole down here, which is definitely a ground potential for the house. So anyway, I opened this up, swapped those wires, put it back together, and what threw me was the high voltage wire was green, and the ground wire is either black or red, I forget. And the ground wire is thicker than the high voltage wire. So in my mind, I was like, oh, that green wire, that's ground. The bigger, thicker black wire is high voltage. Well, no, it was the other way around. So anyway, long story short, hook your wires up correctly, and now it's working fantastic on the layout, as well as working even better on the isolated pieces, as well as now it's working great on the layout as well. So now I'm having a lot of fun with static grass. Alright everyone, that's a wrap for this April-May layout update. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon to get notified of any future videos that I upload. Everybody stay safe out there, and keep working on your railroads, and I will see you down the rails.